Good afternoon, student. This is the lecture number 16 of Unit 3. In Unit 3, we have started the pressure measurement. In the previous lecture, we have studied what is pressure, what are the units of a pressure, then uh, how pressure is to be classified into low pressure, high pressure, and medium pressure. What are the different instruments is to be measured for the measurement of pressure that we have studied in the previous lecture. Today we are going to study one of the measuring device for the pressure measurement, that is manometers. Manometers are defined as the device used for measuring the pressure at a point in a fluid by balancing the column of a fluid by the same or another column of a liquid. Uh, you have studied that all the types of manometers for the measurement of pressure in fluid power 1 in third semester. The same manometers here also used for the measurement of pressure. Okay, the height of the column so balance is noted and then converted to the desired pressure unit. Means for measurement, differential pressure measurement, we will have to balance the height of the manometer. They are treated as standard for pressure and differential pressure measurement because they are virtually free from any friction or hysteresis effect. Okay, so manometers are classified as follows: simple manometers, differential manometers. That's simple manometers. It is one of which consists of glass tube whose one end is connected to the point where pressure is to be measured and other end remain open to the atmosphere. Common types of simple manometers are piezometer, U-tube manometer, and single column manometer, that is micrometer. Okay, so first we will see the what is piezometer. That in diagram we can see that the cross section of the pipe is somewhat square. Okay, square shape cross section pipe is there, and we are interested to measure the pressure of water or fluid flowing through the pipe. Okay, that's why we have connected one limb of a glass tube to the contact surface, or what we can say surface of the pipe. Okay, so it is a vertical transparent glass tube. The upper end, which is open to the atmosphere, and lower end is connected with the gauge point, okay, of which pressure is to be measured. A point in the fluid container at which pressure is to be measured. Rise of fluid in the tube above a certain gauge point is measured of the pressure at that point, and the pressure at point A is given by P suffix A equal to rho G H. That rho is nothing but the density of the fluid, which is measured in kg per meter cube, and small g is nothing but the acceleration due to gravity, which is meter per second square. Okay, meter per second square, and the value of g is approximately considered to be 9.81, and h, capital H, is nothing but the height of the column from whatever the water rise in the uh, glass tube, and from the point of which pressure is to be measured. Means we will have to in this diagram we can see height is nothing but what, at this point the water is or fluid is rise in the glass tube, and at this point we will have to measure the pressure of the flowing fluid. Okay, that's why that height is nothing but the rise in the tube and from the bottom or root of the tube. Okay, then piezometer gauge pressure measure only gauge pressure, is that piezometer only measures the gauge pressure. Okay, so not suitable for measuring the negative pressures, is it? Then next type of manometer is U-tube manometer. In U-tube manometer, in the diagram itself you can see the shape of the manometer is look like U. Okay, alphabet U. Okay, that's why it is known as a U-tube manometer. Okay, whatever the limitations with piezometer, by using the piezometer, that will be overcome by the use of that YouTube manometer. Piezometer cannot be employed when large pressure in the lighter limbs are to be measured. Okay, means there is some limitation by using the piezometer, that when the large pressure in the lighter limb are to be measured. Okay, since this would require very long tube, okay, and which cannot be handled conveniently. That's why we can use that YouTube manometer. Furthermore, the gas pressure cannot be measured by piezometer. Means also there is a limitation of measuring the gas pressure also by the piezometer, because a gas form no pre-atmospheric surface. These limitations can be overcome by the use of YouTube manometers. Okay, so YouTube manometer consists of a glass tube bent in U shape, one end of which is connected to a point at which pressure is to be measured, and other end remain open to the atmosphere as shown in figure. Means in figure we can observe that the here one end of the YouTube manometer is connected to the pipe at which, or the point at which we will have to measure the pressure, and other end of that YouTube manometer is open to the atmosphere. Is it? Then there are two cases. In case 1, for positive pressure, that Px greater than P atmosphere, that P equal to Wh, where W is the specific weight of the fluid. By equating pressure on both sides, that Px equal to Pa plus W2 into H2, that W2 and H2 will be the specific weight of the fluid in the other limbs, and height of the or differential height of the rise of that measurement fluid in the YouTube. Okay, in case 2, for a negative pressure, Px less than P atmosphere, by getting pressure on both sides we get 0 equal to Pa equal to Px plus W1 H1 plus W2 H2, as Pa equal to 0. So this is nothing but the YouTube manometer. Now here the advantages of YouTube manometers are given, that YouTube manometer is easy to fabricate and relatively inexpensive. Okay, good accuracy and high sensitivity, means we can measure the pressure by good accuracy and having high sensitivity, require little maintenance, then not affected by vibrations, it is not affected by the vibrations. Okay, then especially suitable for low pressure, low differential pressures. Okay, then easy to change sensitivity by changing manometric fluid. Then disadvantages of the manometers: usually bulky and large in size, not suitable for recording, means the pressure measurement we cannot record. Then get easily broken because of that manometers, or what we can say, that the manometer tubes are made up of glass, so there will be a risk of broken down the glass tubes. Readings are affected by changing in gravity, temperature and altitudes. Means suppose we have at a higher altitude, there will be some different reading will be shown, then there will be gravity also changed, that's why that it will affect on the output of the pressure measurement. Okay, so this is nothing but the pressure measurement. Then next is a Bell gauge. Bell gauge is used for the pressure measurement. In this, the elastic pressure transducer. In this diagram we can observe one bell shaped structure is there. Means in the container two inlets are there, P1 and P2, and a sealing liquid. In that container the liquid is present. Okay, so once the pressure is means high pressure air is blown to the container from P1 and P2, so there will be a well or sealing liquid will vibrates, and it will be measured on the what we can say that circular calibrated scale. The manometers are suitable for comparatively low pressure measurement. For high pressure measurement, they become unnecessarily large even when they are filled with a heavy liquid. Okay, so that's why we cannot go for the measurement of high pressure. Okay, for measuring pressures in excess of 2 atmosphere, the elastic or mechanical type transducer are most suitable. That's why we cannot measure the high pressure up to 2 atmosphere. Okay, are invariably used, and the action of these gauges is based on deflection of hollow tube. Action of this tube gauges is based on the deflection of the hollow tube and diaphragm and bellows caused by the applied pressure difference. Okay, so the types of elastic pressure measurement: Bourdon tube gauge, diaphragm gauge, and then bellows. Okay, so first we will see the Bourdon tube pressure gauge. In the first unit, while studying the generalized measurement system, we have gone through that Bourdon tube pressure gauge illustration for the measurement of the pressure. Okay, so in that case what will happen, there is a here Bourdon tube pressure gauge. Here the socket, through that socket the high pressure air whose pressure is to be measured is blown through the inlet. Okay, once the high pressure air has been passed to the tube, it will start deflecting, and that small deflection is converted into large deflection by the adjustable link and a pivot end sector, so that it will shows a deflection on the calibrated scale. Okay, uh, so these working we have already gone through. Okay, then advantage of a Bourdon tube: simple in construction and cheap, available in several different ranges, then capability to measure the gauge absolute and differential pressure, excellent sensitivity of that Bourdon tube pressure gauge is very high, then easily adapted to strain, capacitance, magnetic and other electrical transducer. Disadvantages of Bourdon tube: susceptible to shock and vibrations, unsuitable for low pressure, slow response to pressure changes. So because as there is a linkage is present, so that when we blow the high pressure air to the hollow pipe, it will show or it will give response very slowly, because uh, in between there are a number of adjustable, and there is a number of components such as adjust first tip, then adjustable link, segment, lever, sector, pivot, and pinion and spring. Okay, so that it will give very slow response. Okay, so it has been measured in terms of a calibrated scale. Okay, that is displacement of the pointer on the circular calibrated scale. Okay, so this is nothing but the Bourdon tube pressure gauge. Now next is diaphragm gauge. In diagram we can see spring is attached to the diaphragm, and that diaphragm container is having two inlets, that is pressure connections. Then the diaphragm plate is connected to the one linkage, which is having one end fixed and other end is having a pointer indicator, which will show the displacement or deflection of the pointer on the circular scale. Okay, so diaphragm gauge, it is a thin plate of circular shape clamped firmly around its edge. Means we can see here, this is the diaphragm plate. This is the diaphragm plate, and both ends of the diaphragm plate is clamped firmly. Okay, and the diaphragm gets deflected in accordance with the pressure differential across the site, because through this opening the high pressure air is blown, and through this opening also the high pressure air is blown. Means when the diaphragm get deflected in accordance with the pressure differential across the side, and the deflection being towards the low pressure side. The deflection can be sensed by an appropriate displacement transducer. So here displacement transducer will work, means spring, and the diaphragm plate will act as a displacement transducer, and it may be converted into electrical or mechanical signals. Mechanical signals means what? By using the linkage, it will show some circular deflections on the calibrated scale. Okay, so that's why it is known as a mechanical signals. Okay, there are some advantages by using the diaphragm gauge. The small in size and moderately priced, wide linear range, and can withstand high and under pressure, high over and under pressure, small losses, uh, then capability to measure absolute and differential pressure, and also used for the measurement of vacuum. Okay, disadvantages of the diaphragm gauge: need protection against shock and vibrations, cannot be used to measure high pressure, and difficult to repair. Okay, these are the disadvantages with the diaphragm gauge. Okay, so means here advantages was small in size and moderate price, means there is no high price of this instrument, wide linear range, can withstand high over and under pressure, small losses, and capability to measure absolute and differential pressure. uh, in addition to that, vacuum pressures can be measured with the help of that diaphragm gauge. Okay, then next is bellows gauge. Okay, in bellows gauge, here we can see the several convolutions or folds are there. In the experimental setup, we can see that convolutions or folds are attached to the horizontal frame and open end. Through the open end, the high pressure air, or we can say that the air having unknown pressure is blown to the that bellows. Okay, because of that high pressure or unknown pressure air, that bellows will become um, deflected, or what we can say that blown. Okay, or expand, and that expansion will be what we can say that connected to the linkage, and because of that it will shows the some reading or displacement in terms of circular scale on the uh, circular scale. Okay, so in the explanation we have to see what is given here. The bellows is a longitudinally expansion and collapsible member consisting of several convolutions or folds. Okay, then pressure is applied on one side of the bellows, and the resulting deflection is counterbalanced by a spring. Okay, because there is a for counterbalancing spring is used. Okay, pressure is applied on one side of the bellows, and resulting deflection is counterbalanced by a spring. By suitable linkage, uh, the bellows displacement is magnified, and the gauge pressure is indicated by a pointer on the scale. It is shown in the diagram. Okay, uh, the working of the bellows pressure measurement gauge is very simple. Just we will have to blow the unknown pressure air through the opening or inlet of that bellows. That unfold bellows will become expand by the blowing of pressure air through the bellows. Okay, and because of that there is a linkage connected to the other end of the bellows. It will be showing some pointer deflection on the calibrated scale. So very much simple working of the bellows pressure gauge. Okay, so advantages of the bellows gauge: simple and rugged construction, useful for low and medium pressure, moderate cost, maintain good linearity over a wide range, and capability to measure, gauge absolute and differential pressure. Capability to measure the gauge absolute and differential pressure. So good linearity is maintained by the bellows. Moderate cost, useful for low and moderate pressure, means low and moderate pressure can be measured by using the bellows gauge, and as the cost of the instrument is low or moderate, that's why we can purchase it. Maintain good linearity over a wide range, and capability to measure gauge pressure absolute and differential pressure. Okay, so disadvantages of the bellows gauge: higher losses and zero shift problem. Losses are higher and zero shift problem, means we cannot shift zero in case of the circular scale. Then unsuitable for transient measurement. Okay, and need spring for accurate characteristics. Okay, so this is nothing but the bellows gauge. Then there are some low pressure gauges are also there. The two methods of measurement of low pressure are direct measurement and indirect measurement. In direct measurement, here the displacement deflection caused by the pressure is measured and is corrected to the pressure, that Bourdon tube, diaphragm gauge and manometers. Okay, means whatever the gauges we have studied in previous lecture and today, uh, that are used for the low pressure, that is Bourdon gauge, diaphragm gauge and manometers. Indirect method, in that in this the pressure is determined through the measurement of the certain other pressure control properties, including volume and thermal conductivity, that is Macleod gauge. Means one parameter is measured into other parameter, that's why, means pressure is measured in terms of other parameter, that's why it is known as the indirect measurement. Okay, Macleod gauge, thermal conductivity gauge, ionization gauge and Knudsen gauge. In thermal conductivity gauges, again there are two types of gauges, that is thermocouple vacuum gauge and resistance thermometer, that is Pirani gauge. Resistance thermometer gauge is also known as a Pirani gauge. Okay, so one by one we will go through the, means we have gone to already studied that Bourdon tube and diaphragm gauge and manometers. Next we will have to study the Macleod gauge for the low pressure measurement, thermometer, thermal couple connectivity gauge, that is thermocouple vacuum gauge, resistance thermometer gauge, ionization gauge and a Knudsen gauge. Okay, that we will see in the next lecture. Okay, so whatever the part we have studied in today's lecture, I think all of you understood what we have completed today. We have completed the manometer. In the manometers, there are three manometers, that is piezometer, U-tube manometer and single column manometer. Then that piezometer is used for the low pressure. Okay, then piezometer, U-tube manometers, whatever the limitations with the piezometer, that will be overcome by the U-tube manometer. Then next is advantages and disadvantages of the manometer. Then we have gone through the Bell gauge. Okay, which is used for the pressure measurement, and which is known as the elastic pressure transducer. Then next type is the Bourdon tube pressure gauge, that we have already studied in the first unit while studying the generalized pressure measurement system. Then diaphragm gauge and bellows gauge. Okay, so these are the different types of three gauges for the low pressure measurement we have studied. Okay, so next we will have to study the Macleod gauge. In that case, we can measure the pressure. Then thermal conductivity gauge, in that thermocouple vacuum gauge, resistance thermometer, that is Pirani gauge, ionization gauge and Knudsen gauge. That three types we will have to study in the next lecture. Okay, here this is nothing but the Macleod gauge. Step by step we will have to study the working of the Macleod gauge. Okay, so on the Macleod gauge, the numerical also ask, that we will study in very much details. Okay, so whatever the doubts related to this lecture, that we will cover in the Google Meet. So we will stop over here. Thank you.